Hello, this is John welcoming you to the 1919th edition of the Enfield Talking Newspaper, Dateline the 29th of August 2013. The readers this week are Yvonne, Audrey, John, and me, the other John, with Ian on the controls. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Trilly, Fernand Bouillon, Harry Brewer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and is used with his kind permission. Local stories this week include 2 died after early morning collisions, a 100-year-old is still in stitches over her hobby, university site sold off, and mum stranded in China over fake designer shoes dispute. But before then, we have local announcements. We've heard from several of you that you don't want to hear of any of the entertainment that takes place the weekend the tape is recorded, as you don't get your cassette in time. Here we have news of events taking place in September, so let's hope you can get to some of them. The Enfield Town Autumn Show will take place on Saturday the 7th and Sunday the 8th of September from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. in the town park. Admission is adults £3, concessions £2, 16 and under free. Enfield celebrates 60 years of the town show. We're wondering if the Queen will come. There is so much going on that it is easier for us to give you a telephone number to find out the information, which is 020-8363-8196.
The Enfield Community Singers concert dates and venues begin Saturday, the 14th of September at 7:30 p.m, held at Mary Magdalene Church, Windmill Hill, Enfield. The next date will be Saturday, the 28th of September at 3 p.m. at Holy Trinity at Bowes Park Road, Palmer's Green, N21. And finally, Sunday, 29th of September at 3 p.m. at the United Reformed Church, Main Avenue, Enfield, EN1. The group are always looking for more singers. There are no auditions, and sight reading is not essential. For details about concerts and joining the choir, please call Simon on 0208 360 7386.
There's a piano recital that you can go along and enjoy. It's by Junko Kobayashi. He's an international virtuoso, and he will be performing on Saturday, the 7th of September at 11 o'clock. There will be coffee from 10:15. And if you want to go, it's at Grange Park Methodist Church, Park Drive, London, N21 2LS. No tickets, but retiring collection. There's also the Enfield Choral Society, who are celebrating 75 years, which is simply wonderful. It's their anniversary this year, and the choir is the sole surviving section of the original Young People's Fellowship, which was formed in 1937. Some members who joined after the Second World War still sing with the ECS. More recently, they have been attracting younger members due to the musical diversity of music director Mark Sprossen and the broad musical appreciation of the choir members. Their most recent concert was the performance of Verdi's Requiem, which also coincided with the great composer's birthday. The group have also received funding from the Enfield Residents Priority Fund for an additional choir stage, which they have been using this year. The next concert will be on Saturday, the 9th of November, at Christ Church, Enfield. For more information, please visit the website www.enfieldchoralsociety.org.uk. That's www.enfieldchoralsociety.org.uk.
Trent Country Park History and Mystery Walks. Sundays the 22nd of September and the 27th of October. Meet at 10 a.m. on either of the above dates outside Trent Park Cafe, the main car park near the Cockfosters Road entrance. Enfield's largest park has an extraordinary history. Alan Metellus leads a fascinating park walking tour. Learn about the World War II POW camp, the mystery of Camlet Moat, and historical secrets. Walks are no more than 3 miles. Approximately 12:30 p.m. finish. Wear comfortable footwear. It's free. There is no need to book.
Enfield Over 50s Forum. Meet every Monday from 10 a.m. till 12 noon at the Dugdale Centre, Thomas Hardy House, London Road, Enfield. Help and advice includes the services of a solicitor, income tax and Citizens Advice Bureau. For details, call the Over 50s Forum office on 020 8807 2076.
The Mayor's Charity Fun Run is scheduled for Sunday, the 15th of September, and takes place at 40 Hall, 40 Hill, Enfield. There will be a 3-kilometre and a 10-kilometre fun run at 10:15 and 11:15 a.m. respectively. Also, a 3-kilometre walk will take place at 10:20 a.m. For more information and booking, call 0208 379 3762, Monday to Friday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m.
Everyone has different hobbies, but to have the same pastime for nearly a century is almost unheard of. Mary Barry of Christchurch Lodge in Cockfosters, who will be celebrating her 101st birthday in November, is still crazy about knitting despite her advanced years. She's even hoping it will raise money for charity. Mary was born in 1912 and first taught herself to knit when she was 8, making jumpers, dresses, cardigans and suits. Mary has lived at the sheltered home since 2009, and this week she made a blanket that will be given to any good cause that wants it. Without stopping her knitting, the 100-year-old told the Independent, "It takes me about a day to do 1 square, and the blanket has 60 squares on it. I have already got 40 more squares for my next one, and I'm also making a footballer." A confessed lover of Formula One, Mary admits she doesn't know what she would do without her trusty needles and yarn. She said, "She's always something I have done. I will knit all day. It's much better than sitting in front of a television. I make countless jumpers for my son, but I don't think he wears them anymore."
And now here's news of 2 evenings' entertainments that you might enjoy. Firstly, Jazz at Chicken Shed on Friday the 20th of September. Alec Dankworth's Spanish Accents from 7 p.m. Tickets are priced £17 or £15. Then there's Joe Collins and Friends on Saturday the 21st of September. It's a live music night. Tickets are £11 or £9. Phone the box office on 020 8292 9222. That's 020 8292 9222, or contact www.chickenshed.org.uk.
The Enfield Island Village Market is held on every first Sunday in the month. It's located around the piazza. Fresh and hot food, art and craft, fresh produce, face painting, bouncy castles, and much more. Now here is a request from Patricia Allbutt. She says, "I have a quantity of cane for basketry which I should like to dispose of. I have had this for some time, but it appears to be in good condition. Unfortunately, it is no use for the Enfield handicraft class, as this cane has to be soaked in water to be usable, and so could not be left to dry in the church hall where they meet. If you are interested, telephone me on 020 8366 0566. If you want the cane, collection would be appreciated." If you are experiencing any problems receiving your Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diana Jersey on 020 8805 6578. She is your listener's representative and will be pleased to help you. And now, at last, we get to the first item of local news read by Yvonne.
2 dead after early morning collisions. Police are appealing for information after 2 men died in separate car crashes in the borough in the early hours of Saturday morning. The first accident happened in the Ridgeway, Enfield, at 1:30 a.m., and a 24-year-old driver of a silver Toyota was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say they believe the car collided with an out-of-service bus and ended up in a ditch. Dozens of floral tributes have been placed at the scene, and messages and pictures name the dead man as Adem Mehmet. A tribute page has been set up on the social networking website Facebook, and within 24 hours it had more than 1,000 followers. One message said, "Such a beautiful man on the outside, but also on the inside. You touch everyone's heart. You think you could never imagine just how many people loved you and talk highly of you. Your brightest star, a beautiful angel, watching over your loved ones. God rest your soul." The second collision happened in Palmer's Green, near the junction of Alderman's Hill and Green Lanes at 3:30 a.m. Police found a black BMW had been in collision with a green Ford Galaxy minicab and a number 29 bus. The driver of the minicab, a man in his 50s, was pronounced dead at the scene. The 24-year-old driver of the BMW was taken to an East London hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. He remains in hospital. He was arrested and has been released on police bail early September. A passenger in the minicab was also taken to hospital for treatment and was later discharged.
I've already read my headline news, which is about that lovely lady who does all the knitting, so I'm going to read this one now. Studies have shown that Enfield has the highest number of people receiving housing benefit for privately rented property in the capital. A total of 70.4%, which equals 18,000 homes of the 26,000 privately rented households in the borough, are in receipt of housing benefit, according to figures posted by trade union GMB. Second place in the standings is the borough of Barking and Dagenham at 60.2%, a remarkable 10% lower than Enfield. Neighbouring boroughs, Haringey and Barnet, came in 9th and 11th, highest of all the 32 London boroughs in London. Paul Hayes, for GMB Regional Secretary, said, "This growth in buy-to-let lending will give rise to even more claims by landlords for housing benefit to pay the rents. The taxpayer already pay rent to private landlords owning 281,000 properties in the capital. Taxpayers already pay rent to private landlords owning more than 1.5 million homes in England and Wales. This latest growth will likely add another 16,000 new claimants." There's an awful lot of figures in all this. An Enfield Borough Council spokesman said, "This reflects the individuality of Enfield's local housing market. The number of people receiving housing benefit is 10th in London, according to the government's data set published in February. Due to the lower levels of social rented housing in Enfield, the proportion of claimants living in private tenancies is going to be higher than other councils who have a much larger social housing stock. If you look at the proportion of housing benefit claimants living in socially rented housing, Enfield has the third lowest in London."
An international university has announced the purchase of a former campus in Enfield for £30 million. Malaysia's Alliance University College of Medical Sciences, or AUCMS, bought the former Middlesex University Trent Park campus in order to create a medical university hub in London. The private university, based in Penang, Malaysia, currently operates 5 campus sites in Malaysia with a series of international hubs across the Far East, training students in medicine and surgery, and offers a broad academic programme in mathematics and science. Middlesex University's Trent Park campus was put up for sale in April 2012 and has remained unused since, with one of the buildings, the mansion, a listed building. AUCMS President Dr. Zainuddin Wazir said, "There has been a higher education establishment on the Trent Park campus since 1946, and I am delighted to be continuing this rich heritage. The site itself is a beautiful location, and London is the ideal base for us. Our vision for Alliance University College of Medical Sciences London is a thriving modern university campus offering the very best of academic excellence for diploma, degree, master's and PhD studies. It will cater for UK and international students who will be based here, as well as for our existing students who will spend some time in London as part of their studies in Malaysia or elsewhere. With new jobs and more investment created, we very much hope people will welcome us to the area, and we will work closely with Enfield Council, English Heritage and the local community in considering our future plans for the site. Repair work on the buildings will begin in early September, with the Malaysian University intent on bringing 300 students to live and study at the Trent Park campus from October 2013. AUCMS says that there will be a thorough public consultation process as further plans are developed at the site. Melvin Keane, Deputy Chief Executive at Middlesex University, said, "Trent Park has served us well, but our number one priority is providing an excellent student experience. At Hendon, we can offer state-of-the-art facilities and major new or refurbished areas for study and socialising."
A mother of 5 from Ponders End, who was thrown in a Chinese jail without charge, is now stuck in a hotel following the authorities' refusal to let her and a friend leave the country. Esther Jubril Badmos, 48, a jewellery and clothing importer from Lincoln Road, and her friend, Mary Aderonki Iduwu, 59, a grandmother from Hackney, East London, spent 5 weeks in a Chinese prison after a row with a shopkeeper over a pair of designer shoes which they believed were fake. Mrs. Jubril Badmos' son, Gregory Adaye, said the two women had travelled to China on June the 28th for a week's stay. They were arrested when his mum was dragged out of a shoe shop by her hair after a row erupted when she tried to get money back for a pair of shoes she believed were not authentic. The women are now stuck in limbo in a Chinese hotel because, despite being released from prison without charge on bail, which could last up to a year, the authorities refused to grant them an exit visa as their holiday passes had expired. Gregory, 25, who is studying forensic science at the University of Lincoln, is currently looking after his brother, Tope, 15, cousin Tito, 11, and his 5-year-old sister, Angel, and he is having to use his own money to pay the household bills. "My mother was a victim of crime, but she has been treated like a criminal and thrown in jail without charge," he said. Mrs. Oduwo had to sleep on a wooden plank alone and was bullied by one of the guards for weeks after my mother was taken to hospital for her heart condition and depression. They had to pay the owner of the shop £4,000 in compensation to settle the case. They have not been charged with an offence. At the police station, they were forced to sign a number of Chinese documents, and we do not know what they are. It's a horrible situation. The Chinese authorities have said they'll be arrested if they leave, and that bail without charge can last from 7 months to a year. "We can talk through Skype," he added. "My mother is very depressed and she is crying a lot. We are all very upset. My little sister, Angel, is asking for Mum a lot and she doesn't really understand what is going on." Mrs. Idowu's daughter, Sarah Murray, 34, of Bromford, Essex, said, "I have been to the Chinese embassy to tell them they have corrupt police officers in their country taking money from people, but they don't want to know. We are furious. They are taking the mick out of British people, and they are both in bad health, but there is nothing the British consulate can do." The family has started an online petition aimed at getting the Foreign Office to put pressure on the Chinese authorities to allow the women to return home. A spokesman for the Foreign Office said, "We are aware of the arrest of 2 British nationals, including Mrs. Jubril Badmos, in the city Guangzhou on June the 21st, and we are providing consular assistance." The Chinese embassy said it was unable to comment on the matter.
A comment on disability. When we see beauty in a person or a place, what would it take to mar that beauty? Despite our pretense that we are an open and inclusive society that worships its medal-winning Paralympians, when we see a model such as Kelly Knox, do we think she's beautiful despite of or because she has a disability? There is a pernicious tendency when someone doesn't fit into a narrow expectation of what constitutes a whole person that we say, she has a disability, but she's very pretty, you know. Last week on a tube in London, a young, well-dressed professional woman was abused in front of a carriage full of people simply because she had a disability. When she couldn't close the window in her carriage, she was called useless. In tears, the woman, who suffers from cerebral palsy, stood painfully for many more stops before anyone even offered her a seat. Just because the woman was young and beautiful, and to the casual observer did not meet expectations of what a disabled person looks like, did nothing to lessen her pain. Neither did it lessen her humiliation or anger that no one would stand up for her in any sense of the word. Her experience and the battles Kelly has faced in carving out a career prove that as a society, we still seem to have a need to put disability to one side and to shove it out of sight. Disability exists, and it may not look the way we expect it to or the way we want it to. Ignoring the prejudices that still exist stops us from having a truly inclusive society. So the next time you witness a person being reduced to tears by someone so threatened by the thought they are not whole, then stand up for them. For a start, they probably need your seat a lot more than you do. And in conjunction with that story, model Kelly Knox, winner of BBC Three's 2008 Britain's Missing Top Model competition, has to face these questions every day because she is blue-eyed, blonde hair, and a radiant smile. How do designers and bookers, model bookers, react when this beauty is combined with a disability? Now she has chosen to express her daily battles in a postcard displayed as part of the United Response, postcards from the Edge exhibition in Southwark, South London, next month. Kelly, 29, an ambassador for REACH, the Association for Children with Upper Limb Deficiency, was born without the lower part of her left arm and says the driving force in her career has been her determination to challenge people's perceptions about disability and beauty. I wanted to create a postcard to push my message out there further, inspire other people affected by disability to create their own postcard and get their stories, thoughts and feelings heard too. Kelly's postcard is a picture of herself as featured in the Marie Claire China magazine, with the words, "Disabled model invisible in the perfect world of fashion." Her determination to confound expectations of what disabled people should aspire to has been a driving force in her career. She told the Advertiser that she is determined not to be either defined by nor held back by her disability. I am determined more than ever to change society's preconceived ideas about disability. While admitting that last year's London Paralympics helped to dispel some of the myths and stereotypes surrounding disability, Kelly is passionate that disabled presenters, models and actors need to feature more prominently in the media mainstream. For disability to be accepted and normalised, we need more positive image of disability in the media. A good model should not be defined by race, colour, age, shape or disability. Kelly's postcard will be displayed as part of the exhibition at the Bankside Gallery in Hopton Street, Southwark, from September 11 to 15.
A group of travellers moved into a sports ground in Upper Edmonton last week. 9 caravans arrived at the open space in Bull Lane on Monday. The group of Irish travellers told the Advertiser that they had been in Essex and were aiming to stay at the site, opposite an industrial estate and surrounded on 3 sides by trees, as long as they can. One man, who goes by the name of Johnny, said, "Ideally, we would like for us to be able to stay here permanently. The land is within the borough of Enfield, but is owned by Haringey Council. Last year, an application to build a housing development on the field was withdrawn, and Community Action Sport has been trying to raise enough money to buy the land with a view to developing it into a sports facility. Enfield has no sites available for travellers in the borough, but a report for the Mayor of London has suggested there could be up to 4 sites in the future." A spokesman for Haringey Council confirmed that the authority was seeking a court order to evict the travellers. "We are aware of an unauthorised encampment at Bull Lane," said the spokeswoman. "We have spoken with the occupiers of the site and are taking appropriate action to try to clear the site as soon as possible."
The sunny bank holiday Monday ensured that the annual Cuffley Steam and Country Show was a hit. Around 2,000 people attended the event, which was organised by the Whitewebs Museum of Transport in conjunction with the Hertfordshire Heavy Horse Association, and took place at Colesdale Farm in Northaw Road West, Cuffley. The show, which is a fundraiser for the museum in Whitewebs Road, Enfield, included displays of vintage cars, steam engines and motorbikes, as well as Shire, Clydesdale, Suffolk and Comtois horses. There was also a chance to get hands-on with archery and at an air rifle range.
Rates of tuberculosis in Enfield are among the highest in London, with a worse-than-average infection rate. Figures published by Public Health England show London has the highest rate of tuberculosis out of all Western European capitals. In the mid-2000s, the rate in the UK was around 14 per 100,000. But now, London is at a concerning high of 42 per 100,000 people. Enfield came in 19th out of 32 London boroughs, 79 people out of every 100,000 contracting TB in 2012. Despite the high figure, this was lower than neighbouring boroughs, with the rates in Haringey at 101, Barnet at 110 and Waltham Forest at 129. The highest of all the London boroughs was Newham, with 366 new TB outbreaks for every 100,000 people. We have now reached the end of side 1 of this tape. Please stop your machine now, take out the cassette, turn it over and start side 2.